How far are you willing to go? The drive, the sweat, the blood, the tears, your determination through the pain and all the suffering, people overlooking you, telling you that you're not good enough. You have to believe that you're great. And with you believing that you're great, anything you want to do, you can achieve. No one can stop you. Only you can stop yourself. Keep driving. Keep uplifting yourself. Keep going. Keep going. Nothing, and no one can stop you. That goal you want, you can achieve it. How you inspire people is going to be up to you. Keep going. Never give up. Never give up. Keep going. Never give up.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Ikon. And we here on 910 Sports TV once again. First and foremost, I got to thank God for this opportunity because without Him, it would be no us to be able to do this. So first, you know how I do it. I'm gonna go from my top to my bottom. I got the great, legendary, you know what I'm saying, world renowned Coach Goins in the building. What's going on, family?
Hey, listen, man, it's gonna be a great night, great show, and I'm just looking forward to tipping this thing off. So welcome.
Okay. Then down at the bottom, you know what I'm saying? I got Mr. Cowboy himself. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Want to be everybody that kind of ain't mediocre in football and basketball's agent. I don't know why, but I got Jacob the Great in the building. What's going on, fam?
Man, glad to be in the land of the living, man. Another day to get it right.
Okay. And I'm gonna let Coach go and introduce this man. I know they very good friends, so I'm gonna let him do the honors of introducing the man we have on the show tonight.
Well, I tell you what, it gives me, first of all, I know he's had a very, very busy day today. Concluded his Bobby B.C. Collins Foundation golf tournament. So, just on behalf of 910 Sports TV, we're just happy to have on with us tonight none other than Bobby Collins, the men's head basketball coach at Shaw University. So, here's just a little bit of stats. Coach Collins has won Coach of the Year of MEAC twice. He's also been recognized as the National Coach of the Year by winning the Ben Jobe Award in 2015. He has over 229 career wins as an HBC coach in that community. He's played Division I basketball at Eastern Kentucky University. He is a Hall of Famer at Eastern Kentucky University. He's the first basketball player to ever win Male Athlete of the Year. So it gives me great honor to introduce one of my lifelong friends to the show, Coach Bobby Collins. Welcome to 910 Sports TV.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm pumped up. You see me rocking back and forth because the introduction did it for me. The introduction, man, I got in coaching mode. I'm like, I'm pumped up. I'm ready. Hey, thank you guys for having me, man. And man, I look forward to sharing my story. Whatever you guys ask, I'm excited about this opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So listen, with that, here we go right here. I know, like I said, today you had tell everybody on our viewing and listening audience. I know you had your golf tournament. I know it was a success. I was dialed in. I saw and certainly appreciate you shooting out the sign to us to for that whole sponsorship, giving us a shout out on that golf course today. So just tell us, just how do you feel coming off another historic event today?
So I guess after listening to the introduction that you guys had on, and then the camp that I had on a couple of days ago, and then the golf tournament today, I'm still riding on a high. I mean, we had over 100 kids in our camp. We had over 100 golfers today. Man, I am so excited that the people in the community are excited about what we are trying to do. And let's make a difference in the young folks' lives here in our community in Moore County.
Excellent. So with that, I'll go ahead and kick it over to the one and only Icon E.
Well, sir, first of all, let me ask you, what the hole that we was on, was it one of them easier holes or was it one of them harder holes?
It was definitely harder. It was
Okay.
harder.
So did you play yourself?
I didn't play because I wanted to make sure that everybody there was having a great time. and it was a success. I had some of my friends there. Ernie Pernsley was there, Lamont, Reggie Fuller was there. They gave me a helping hand. So I had plenty of help to make sure that it was a success. A
Excellent.
success.
Okay. So just tell the people that don't know, how did you get started in coaching?
Wow, man. And coaching, wow. It goes all the way back, and it starts with that young man above me, Lamont Goins. And I know Lamont know about this because, we talk about it a lot. And Lamont and I had shared this path together in my early years. It started in what, fifth grade, Lamont, fourth grade or fifth grade, we played in a basketball tournament.
Yeah,
And
fifth
your
grade.
mom had to go home and get me a pair of shoes and a pair of shorts so that I could play because I didn't have any. And mom went and got it. That was our first tournament Lamont and I won together. Then when I got to high school, I knew I had potential, but I never tapped into it because I was in the church. I played the drums in church, and we was in church every night. And when that happened, um, Lamont I was in gym one day, and I went up and dunked the basketball. This is my junior year, and I went up and dunked the basketball. And Lamont went and got Coach Capel and said, "Hey, Coach, come out here and check this kid out." And I went up and when he came out, he saw me dunking the basketball, and he said, "Hey, man, you want to play?" To make a long story short, I said, "Of course I will." And let me go home and ask my mom and dad. So he actually came with me, asked my mom and dad if I could play, and they say yes. And my father and my mother said, "We allow him to play if he does one thing first, and that's keep God first in his life, regardless of whatever he does." And I've done those things, and to cut through a lot of it, I ended up going to Eastern Kentucky University. I played 4 years there, and then I left Eastern Kentucky, played briefly in Helsinki, Finland, professionally. Once I left there, I came back, and this is how I actually got into coaching. I had to tell that part to get to this part. When we had the success that we had in high school, Jeff Capel told me, he said, "Hey, when I get in position to help you, I'm going to take care of you." Well, it happened. He got in the position where he was able to call me. He said, "I just took the job at Old Dominion University, and I have a starting position for you." And he said, "You'll move quickly." And I was an admissions counselor at Eastern Kentucky University at that time. And I prayed about it, and I actually took the job and went to Old Dominion for 1 year. And then the second year went over to Hampton University, and then 6 years I became head coach at a Division I program at Hampton University, and that's how my career got started.
Okay. So basically, your college years, how did that help you as far as being a coach? And what did you learn, and what were the nuances of being a player, and then going from being a player to coaching other players? What were the things that you learned or doing that
Man,
experience?
that's a great question because everywhere I've been, I've learned from each coach I've been under. You talk about Coach Capel when I started playing basketball. You talk about him. He was a motivator. He was an inspirer, man. He can make you believe you can do anything. And he had the gift. He had a gift of making you believe. Let me give you an example of how good he was or how he would get the best out of you. I called him one day when I was the head coach, and I had a kid that was very talented. I said, "Coach, in practice, this kid is an All-American." I said, "Man, he don't miss any shots." I said, "Man, he's a pro." He like, "Really?" I said, "Yes, sir. He's a pro." He said, "What's the problem?" I said, "Well, when we get in the games, it just doesn't carry over." He said, "I'll tell you what you do. Right before the game start, and he get ready to jump ball, call him over to the side and say, 'Hey, man, go out there and have a great practice.'" And that kid had a smile on his face, and it felt like the world was lifted off his shoulders. That young man happened to play for the Lakers this year, just for an example of how good this young man was. He played for the Lakers back in the early 2000s. The
Wow.
night Kobe Bryant hit 81 points, he subbed for him.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. Go
You
ahead,
know
Jacob.
that was
Oh.
Coach
Okay.
Capel, and then
Okay.
when I went to college, I played for Max Good. Max Good was a disciplinarian man, and he was tough. He was hard, but also I thought he was one way, and I don't know if he got the best out of everybody that. Excuse me for one second. I don't know if he got the best out of everybody who came through the program. because I was just different. I had to really pay attention. I had to really listen. Sorry, the guys from the kitchen are going back and forth. But anyway, I had to really listen, and he was tough. And the one thing I said I would do is kind of adjust to the players that I have. You can't treat everybody the same.
Mm.
And I learned that from him. Then I went on and I started coaching under Coach Capel again. I saw how he motivated, inspired at Old Dominion. Then I worked for another guy over at Hampton University, at Byron Samuels, to Steve Murfell. And from all those guys, I've learned so much. And I took all that they did, and I became the coach that I am now.
Okay. Go ahead, Jacob.
Okay, Coach. Good to have you on here, man. It's definitely a pleasure. I definitely read up on you, and I definitely put my touches on the writing so people know who you is, and definitely gonna share it with a lot of people. So, with you being a coach, what's the most important thing that you have learned from the kids that you coach?
Well,
Good question.
for me, basketball just happened to be my platform. But making a difference in young people's lives is my purpose. Me being a preacher's son of my mom and dad both was pastors. I got brothers and sisters that were pastors, and all I ever seen my mother and father do is give and support and do for others. And I'm not too far from that, because even with my foundation, the purpose of my foundation is to come back here to my community at Moore County, and make a difference in somebody's life. My motto for our camp is, if it is to be, is up to me. I'm not going to let somebody else be the reason why I don't succeed. And more importantly, I'm not going to let my enemy, yourself, because sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And that's where I come from, and that's what I'm built from. That's my cloth. And that is what I try to instill in every young man that I come across, and young woman.
Okay, Coach. So, inches with Sunday, and so we get a little bit more deep. I understand that you have a key part of this as a big basketball coach, but
You
We got
breaking up a
bad
little bit.
when
connection.
it comes
You breaking
to
up.
for foundation,
You breaking up.
can you
Are you bringing?
still hear me?
You go ahead and say something.
I couldn't hear what
Can
he
you hear me?
asked.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so Coach, definitely want to give you your flowers for being for transforming the change with this foundation. It piques my interest. Why it piques my interest? Education, community, and basketball. That really goes hand in hand. So, what are some of the programs that you have up under your foundation?
Or did we lose him?
Yeah, because I don't think I've got this. I've just got a screen on.
Yeah, I think we lost
Hmm.
him for a second. But the thing about Coach Collins is, one thing about him I always known is I always heard his name, and since we was kids, I always see him moving around. So he definitely got a legendary name in the North Carolina area. Just for people to know that, you know,
Oh yeah,
or whatever, and the impact that he's had on the community has been humongous. Oh, there we
yeah,
go.
yeah. He's back.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear his question. I'm sorry. Jacob, I didn't hear your question.
Okay, Coach. Okay, so I said that you piqued my interest with your foundation when we're talking about education, community, and basketball, and the foundation represents all of that and more. And so, what type of programs do you have up under your foundation? For education, for the community, and for rising basketball players that want to be known that want to be known on the court.
Of course, if education is definitely important. It's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. With this education thing, and then with the NILs and the landscape of how basketball and college basketball is, to me, is really just a semi-pro league. And a lot of time now it's going to be so difficult. It's really difficult to coach right now because a lot of kids are trying to get numbers. It's not about winning anymore. It's not about playing as a team anymore. It's really not even about building a culture anymore. It's about bringing the best players in and to try to win. As a coach, you try to win as most games as you can, but it's really, really difficult to get a handle on this thing. I think it's kind of really, in my point, it's out of control. Um, I think Cooper Flag, they say, made over 15 million last year, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that's what he made or over that. That might be kind. That might just be a percentage. But it's really difficult when you have a kid making that much money, and you waiting for your next paycheck. You gonna tell that kid something because they feel like they're in control. But I still, as I coach at Shaw University, and I still try to build a culture. I don't know if I'm gonna have a player or many players that will, maybe this year I got a couple of good players, but how many really will go to the NBA from where we are? You have to be really special. You have to be really locked in. And you have to be really committed.
Okay, okay, okay. And so, Coach, with you having your foundation, what led you to start the foundation?
Wow. Lamont and I, when I came home from college, the first thing we did, Lamont, we had a basketball tournament,
That's right.
and we call it the basketball tournament at Pinecrest, and we started that way, and it really started with Coach Capel. When I had some success as a player, and I came back home and we were having a conversation in his yard, and I told him thank him for, I don't know if I would have got a college degree because that wasn't the route that I was on. And I wanted to thank him. And I said, man, how can I repay you? How can I thank you? And he said, pay it forward. Do it for somebody else. And since that conversation, um, it just took off from there. Then we started, Lamont and another friend of mine, Jackie, we started the camps. We started doing camps, and it just took off. So we've been doing those camps for the last 28 years. And it's my passion, it's
Mm.
my heart. I mean, man, when I have that camp, I really get in coaching mode. And those kids love it. I said, now, do you want me to treat you like a college coach, or do you want me to teach you like a middle school coach? And everybody raised their hand. We want a college coach experience. Then I said, well, I'm only gonna tell you one time. And after that, we're gonna have a problem. So they kind of got it. We had a great camp last week. Great camp.
Okay, okay, and I think it's so wonderful what you're doing with the foundation, and keep on paying it forward, man, because we definitely need people like you to really pay it forward and to really because the kids I'm 51 years old, so when I was coaching basketball camps and stuff like that, the kids are way different, and even when I talk to the kids that play AAU basketball, they are definitely privileged. Their their gym bag costs more than most people's sneakers. You know what I mean? So
Right, right.
would you paying it? Yeah, hey man, listen. Would you paying it forward like that, man? I definitely appreciate it, man. And man, I'm just I'm just excited for you, man. Never did I think that I was gonna be, being a part of a task that interview somebody that got a celebrity golf event, and I'm like, oh man. I was like, Coach Goins must be somebody important. The type of people he know, man. I said, Lord have mercy. That's exactly what I said.
Man, we're literally childhood friends, man. I mean, I can get emotional right now just thinking about it because I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for Lamont because I didn't have a lot of friends when I was at Pinecrest. I didn't have a lot of friends when I was in middle school. Now I had associates, but they didn't know Bobby Collins. As a matter of fact, Lamont remember, and they were talking about it last night. Jackie Thompson, they used to call me Black Bobby Collins. It was BBC.
Wow.
And then when I started playing basketball, Felton Capel was doing the radio, which is Jeff Capel's father, and he said to me, I mean, he was on the radio and he started calling me BC, Bobby BC Collins, and Lamont was his sidekick. Wasn't you, Lamont?
That's right.
He
Yep.
did radio with him, and that's when everything took off for me after that radio show, and I first heard him broadcasting the show from when I played. It was phenomenal, and my confidence when I walked in the room changed. Not as a person. I mean, I wasn't arrogant. I was far from that. I was still a humble guy because I remember when I didn't have no friends. Lamont was my only friend.
That,
Right, Lamont, you was
that's
my only friend. And so I remember that, and I give praise and honor to the people that helped me along the way. And that's why my purpose in life right now, my passion and my drive is so tough because I don't want anyone to be mistreated. I wouldn't want anybody around me to be mistreated. And I gravitate to the young man that's part of my team that everybody picks on because I remember that used to be me, and I don't like no one to treat anybody wrong. So that's my heart, man, and that's my purpose, my drive, and my energy. So when I have a chance to give and feed somebody, man, I'm pumped up about it.
And
I can
before
dig
you
it,
go,
man. I can dig
before
that.
you go, I was gonna say this, and you could attest to this, Coach. I was telling Jacob that the Capels is like our Mannings, the Manning family of Moore County.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes, they are.
yeah,
Yes, they
uh-huh.
are. I used to babysit them young fellas, little Jeff and Jason.
Mhm. Oh wow.
Yeah, so
okay. Okay.
yeah, man, it was. I mean, the Capels are definitely a part of me. Last year we had a black tie gala. We honored Coach Capel for pretty much responsible for everything and everybody that was in that room that night. And we had over 200 people in that room that understood that the reason why they're in there is because of Coach Capel. He's, Lord bless his soul, but he's deceased now, but he's a big part of this situation right here while we on this radio show.
Mm. Oh
And I'm
wow.
thankful for that. I'm very thankful for that.
Okay.
I
Go ahead.
love it. I love it.
You got that's all you got, Jacob. You got another question?
Yeah, yeah, that's all I got for now.
Okay, go ahead, Coach. Go on.
Well, you know what? As I sit here and Coach BC is you're just taking us down memory lane. It is as my mind goes back, my heart goes back, and folks don't know how far Bobby and I go back. Like I said, he's one of my lifelong friends. And again, and when I tell people I've always enjoyed basketball, even though I couldn't score 20 points in the closet by myself with the light on.
Oh, you had a smooth lefty, Lamont. That's your shot.
But in that, I was able to. I don't know. I call it a gift. I just knew at that moment in time that I had to go get Coach Capel, and not to repeat the story that Coach Collins told because I could never do that. It just took off from there, and as I sit back, and I've watched Coach Collins in every step of his career. I had the opportunity to be at his college graduation, and every step of the way when he was at Hampton and when he was at Old Dominion as assistant coach, when he was at Hampton as assistant coach, then when he took over the programs and he's won championships at every stop that he's been at. It's just been an honor and privilege. One of the greatest things for me was to be present when he won the 100 CIAA tournament with Winston-Salem. Michelle Obama was at that tournament, and to win that championship and to be there to see him cut the nets down, to be out on the floor when he hoisted that trophy. Those are the things. And that's what life's about. It's not about what you do; it's how you reach back and together, iron sharpens iron. Of course, I live in Virginia. I'm not able to support him the way I would love to be able to do. I try to do that from a distance. When he had his basketball camp, I wasn't able to be in attendance this year. My heart was there just like today. I had to attend a funeral of one of my good friends here in Virginia, and I knew his tournament was going on this morning. So as I got up and started my day, and I was eating my breakfast, of course, I was praying for his tournament to be what it is. But and again, that's what it's all about. The relationships. It's not for you. But so here's where I want to go, Bobby. I want you to tell that story, how it was to be in Pinecrest High School gymnasium, and over in that left hand corner when we be sitting on the bench, and Ikon and Jacob, you never understood the Collins sisters, Coach BC sisters. They would be anchoring down that. They'd be anchoring down that corner, and it would be the gym would be packed. And Bobby would be out there. Think about it. When we started our games, Jay Carmichael would be jumping center. He would tip the ball to Bobby. Bobby would go down and dunk it on the Patriot end, because we always went to the Patriot end first. So tell us about that, Coach.
Wow, man. First of all, I'm the youngest of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 10, and I had a big family, nieces and nephews and so on, and they would rope off a little section over in the corner, left-hand corner across from our bench, where my family would come in and sit, because we went from having nobody at the games to sellouts, right, Lamont?
That's right.
The games were sold out, man, and you had to get there early because you would miss that dunk. And I was very fortunate, and you know what, Lamont? I have to say this first. I'm at the Carolinas Hotel in Pinehurst. Very fortunate. On a discount, by the way. I was walking down Southern Pines downtown. Man, I was just reminiscing and just talking to my lady friend about how I used to walk down the street with newspapers. I had pallets on both sides. I put 55 pallets on my head and walked for miles selling newspapers, man. That was my hustle in high school. And I think that also, which I don't know, is the reason how I became so athletic. Because I would carry those pallets on both arms, 25 on the side. I would always have 50, or 50 on top of my head. And I was telling my girlfriend about it, and she says, wow, man, this is great to hear about these stories. And when I got on the court and I went up and dunked that ball that day, I know it had a lot to do with all those papers. I didn't have that weight. And I went up so easy and dunked the basketball. And I don't know, before every game, I would ask little Jeff, hey, what kind of dunk you want, the first dunk? He'll say, dunk it backwards. I'd go and get the steal, and I'll dunk it backwards. Next time he'll say, hey, do the Jordan dunk, which is, I'll rock it across the head, and boom, bring it back. He said, this time, come across and come under, and I go under the rim and dunk. And he would always give me that first dunk to do. And, man, that was so exciting. It was more exciting to see my family there and the support and the love and they didn't really know much about sports because we were always in church, and that was the only time that we really went. So it was great feeling that. It was great.
Absolutely, absolutely. So hey, here's the last one, and I'll toss it over. So you've been a college coach, man, for over 25 years. How was it when you were recognized and won the Jobe Award in 2015 as the nation's top minority coach in all of college basketball?
Wow, man, I in my life, man, I'm gonna tell you guys that all I ever been told was what I couldn't do. They told me when I first went to Eastern Kentucky, don't go to Eastern Kentucky, go JUCO, go junior college, and work your way up to the ranks. Well, I went to Eastern Kentucky. I'm a Hall of Famer. They told me when I started coaching at Hampton University, I wasn't ready to be a head coach, and I probably wasn't. But I was the winningest first-year head coach in the history of Hampton University at 19 wins. I took a bad job, Maryland Eastern Shore. They won a total of 4 games in 4 years. And everybody was saying, you go there, you're not going to win, your career's going to be over. Well, in my first year there, I took a team that only had 4 wins in 4 years, and we won 19 games. We beat teams like Duquesne, St. Bonaventure, Fordham. So we had legitimate mid-major wins, and those schools actually paid us $80,000 to play. And to get beat, that was bad for those guys. I mean, we won $240,000, and we won the game. But then I got the Ben Jobe Award, Lamont, and when I got the award, I reflected and I got really emotional when I received it, because Ben Jobe is a legend in our HBCU. He's a legend coach. And when he gave me that award and he told me how he admired my work and what I've accomplished and the places I've been and what I've done, he said he had over 100 applicants, but mine stood out the most. And I got emotional when he told me that. And it's like Ben Jobe is the Mike Krzyzewski of HBCU. So he at that time he was the godfather of HBCUs, and so for him to recognize my work was a special feeling.
Amen. Amen. Appreciate that, man. All right, Ikon, what you got?
So, as far as to kind of give a little history lesson of like Pinecrest when I went in the '90s. I went between '90 and '94, graduated in '94, and at that time, Pinecrest, the volleyball team, the women's volleyball team was great. With Charlotte Hargrove, the women's basketball team was pretty good. The baseball team was good, but when it came to like the basketball team, the men's and the football, those years we was lacking. So you didn't get a lot of players that was able to come up out of those, come up out of there on the sports side in those programs. So when y'all played, what what was the atmosphere like at that time in the year that you played at Pinecrest? Was it a national thing where people knew about you nationally, or was it more of a state thing or regional? How was it then?
Well, just know this, that I I never went to a high school basketball game until the first one I played in.
Oh wow!
So I didn't know what to expect. But Coach Capel asked me to do one thing. Lamont, you can attest to this. He said he got in front of we had a pep rally, and he said to the pep rally in the gym. Of course, we had the whole school there. He said you would never see this dunk in the game, but today Bobby's going to show you a dunk that you won't ever see in a game. Well, I took two balls and I went up to dunk them, and I put them behind my head and boom, and dunked both of them simultaneously.
Mm.
Oh,
And
wow.
from that point on, everybody said, I'm coming to the games because I want to see. I mean, back then, dunk was special. And, and I was going to get 2 or 3 dunks a game. And because I was so athletic, I didn't know what I was going to do. It was depending on what Lil Jeff was going to ask me to get him. But the crowds
Oh,
were
wow.
phenomenal. When we went on the road, Lamont would tell you that they would get on me to make me lose my focus. But all that did was I didn't know no better. I just played harder. I
Yeah.
just
So
played.
so what made you pick, like, so okay, when you was getting scouted by different teams, what made you choose Eastern Kentucky? Because
I'm glad you
that's kind
asked.
of a way from home.
I'm
That's a
glad you
big
asked. I
jump from
kind of
home.
skipped that story a little bit because I didn't want to take up too much time. But Coach Capel took me to Prep Stars basketball camp. When I went to that camp, no one knew who Bobby Collins was because I hadn't played yet. Well, when I left that camp, I was ranked number 6 in the state of North Carolina, behind Danny Manning, Chris Washburn, Rezino Smith.
Wow.
I was ranked number 6. Well, after that camp, Eastern Kentucky didn't wait to recruit me. They went to my mom and dad's house in the projects and said, Mr. and Mrs. Collins, we want to offer your son a full scholarship to college. And my mama said, praise the Lord, we accept. Now, being the youngest of 10, and none of my sisters and brothers going to college, their route was to finish school, get a job, and live your life. That's the route I was on. So Coach Capel told me, he said, man, you got a chance. And when he told me that, I embraced it and I ran with it. He planted a positive seed in my spirit to make me feel that I can accomplish anything. And that is what I try to relay over to the young people that I touch and have an opportunity to touch, that you can be and do whatever you want to do if you put the time in. But the main thing for me is I realized what my purpose in life was at an early age. And because I did that, I played with that passion because I wanted to come back home and say, Mom and Dad, here, I made it. Now let me provide for you. So I coach with it, I play with it. And whenever I come into contact with people, humans, I try to also let them know that however I can help or whatever I can do, even if it's a laugh, laughter is priceless.
So I'm just
You
trying to
all,
figure out because before you go, Jacob, let me say this. I'm trying to figure out how you was able to make it out of North Carolina and not be almost skinned alive. Because I don't know if y'all heard the story of Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dominique was the top player in the state of North Carolina, and he decided to go to Georgia, and he was getting all kind of death threats and crosses and burnt crosses in his yard because back in those days it was blasphemy to leave out of the state of North Carolina instead of going to an ACC school. So I don't know how you
I've
managed to
had
get away with that one.
I was recruited pretty heavily, but when people heard I was going to Eastern Kentucky, they kind of let off, and they were just proud and happy because of the route that I took. I didn't have the name of Dominique Wilkins. I might have had the game, but I didn't
Okay.
have the name. So,
Got
but here's the thing, Coach Capel, he believed that I could have played at a higher level. Academically, I was right there. I was really just trying to graduate and get a job and live my life. But once he told me I had a chance, then I tried to buckle down and study a little bit more. Academics was really high and important back then. You had to meet a certain level. You had to make a 900 on SAT. You have to have 2.5. Well, he said, well, Bobby, if you don't get it, because I had to take the test, if you don't get it, then let's look at going to Shawan JUCO junior college, and they were ranked like number 2 or 3 in the country because they had Nate McMillan. Well, I went there on a visit, and the coach at the time, slipping my mind right now. You remember who he was, Lamont?
I can't remember. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name.
Wow. But anyway, he told me, he said, hey, if you beat this guy one-on-one, I'll give you a full scholarship to Shawan. And I said, okay. I felt like I was going to beat him because I looked at him. He was long, skinny guy. I said, man, no, I'm going to get him. Well, he beat me 10-4. He beat me 10-6, and he beat me 10-8. I got better in each game, but he beat me. And coach put me on the bus and sent me back home and said, nah, I want a better player. And that coach is a
you.
legend coach. I mean, man, that's bad that I'm not thinking of his name right now. But he was a legend coach. And on the recruiting trail, he would tell that story every time. Now, I was playing Nate McMillan, who happened to be the #1 draft pick to the Supersonics.
Mm,
So played at North Carolina State, point guard. So that
mm.
wasn't a bad loss.
Yeah,
right, right,
definitely. Go
right,
ahead, Jay.
right.
But that's how I ended up going to Eastern Kentucky. And
Oh,
Eastern
okay.
Kentucky, what they got was a guy who was focused. And this is part that's amazing to me, man. And I look at it now because I'm a coach and I've been coaching 33 years, Lamont. This is my 33rd year. That's the crazy part. I know you shake your head like 33 years, you've been coaching. Yeah. Yeah, I've been coaching for 33 years. But here's the crazy part is that I didn't know what I had. I didn't know what I had. And I didn't have any bad habits. So based on that, I just played with my heart. I just played with it. And I knew I wanted to come back home and say, Mom and Dad, I've made it out of your 10 kids. And now let me help the family. That's every kid's dream. That's every kid's goal. And so that's why I played so hard. But I enjoyed the route that I took at Eastern Kentucky because I'm a Hall of Famer there. Um, and I love my university.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, I'm gonna say one last thing, before we close out. I'm gonna say this, Coach. You are a type of man that had to have a lot of discipline. Uh, uh, you had to have a strategic mind, um, not just for basketball, but to deal with of the parents, because sometimes the parents can have way more egos than the children.
It's real.
So how did you keep yourself so disciplined and really be so strategic when it comes to making parents understand, this is where your child is at, but if you let me work with your child can be here. So how did those conversations go over with parents?
Man, I love talking to parents. I really do because I want them to know that if your son is not on the court, then there's some things that he got to change. And that's the one thing that I can hold over his head is his playing time. And they're going to listen to me. And the crazy thing is, man, I coached for 33 years, 5 Coaches of the Year award, Ben Jobe Award, won championships at CIAA and MEAC. But my son, BJ, Bobby Collins Jr., he'd rather listen to him opposed to the coach who's done it for 33 years. It's just the way it is, and I don't have an ego about it. So I know when a parent bring their child in there to me, I let them know that when they leave, if they let me coach them, they won't only be a better basketball player, they'll be a better person. My job is to enhance everything that they've given him. And I hope and I pray that wherever my son goes to play college basketball, that he is surrounding himself by a coach like myself who care about him as a person, not just as an athlete. Because coaches now, because they can pay, their job is to pay a player to come in and play, and that's it. Are they going to enhance those players as persons? Maybe. I can't say what they're doing, but I do know for me, if you bring your son and he play for me, he not only will be a better basketball player, he'll be a better person. That is my goal, not just on the basketball court, but in life.
Right. Wow.
Appreciate it, coach. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, I like to say this. First and foremost, I want to thank you for coming on because I know you've had a long day, long weekend doing this, putting this tournament together, and and you decide to take your time. And also I want to thank you for uh allowing 910 Sports to be a part of your tournament, because just to let you know, if you don't know, and I try to tell people this all the time, is when I came up with the vision of 910 Sports, it was because to interview coaches that and players and and programs that come from maybe a smaller communities and smaller areas that don't get that recognition of being able to get interviewed on an ESPN or FS1 and all that. So that was my goal. So a quick story, where how it all came together when I first decided to do this podcast was Steve Haskell's son was playing at Pinecrest, and I
Oh
kept
yeah,
hearing about this kid, and I kept saying, "Hey, there's no way in the world he's as good as they're saying." So I had to
right.
see it for myself, and I seen him play, and I remember, they was playing against they were a team from Raleigh, and there was a bunch of trees out there. And most of them guys were 6'5", 6'6". Pinecrest players was 5'10", but whether they coach had them playing at this fast pace, and Steve Haskell's son, they called him Scrap, and that's how he played. And he was dominating the game, and every time they took him out, the team would come back and they put him back in, and he'll go off again. And I asked his dad, I said, how was he not being recruited by Carolina and Duke and Kentucky and these schools? You know what I'm saying? And that's what gave me that. That's when the guy gave me that vision that I needed to start this podcast based on that. You know what I
Awesome,
mean? That
man.
to give
Awesome.
kids like that opportunity. And I want to say one last thing is when a person talks about themselves and like you have tonight, the one thing I do know personally, when before we came on the air, when I told you I was friends with your nephew and we've been friends for 30 years, I know his family. I know his sister, Chris's mom, his nephew. I know, Faye and most of the family. And he comes from a very spiritual, grounded, good family. I've never seen, I admire how close your family is. Y'all know y'all just probably, I think y'all just had a family reunion and all that y'all do all the time every year. And one thing I know about your family is y'all very a tight knit group, and they help everybody in the community and around them, and they'll give their shirt off their back and they last dime if they have to help other people. So
Right.
it's a privilege for me to have you on here tonight and to be a part of this show. And like I told him when you had faded out a few minutes ago, I remember when I was going to Pinecrest. I didn't know you personally, but I remember you coming over to the school and walking around and have everybody gravitated to you like you was Michael Jordan on the campus when people walk up to you. And so I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but everybody seemed to know him. You know what I'm saying? But I just, if you got any last words or whatever before we get out of here, we love to hear them.
Man, your platform is incredible. I admire your vision and your dream because I always say every man should have a vision. Every man should have a dream. If you don't have a purpose, then what is your purpose? So I commend you for what you're doing and how you're doing it and achieving that. That's a blessing. And of course, now these young people have to take advantage of it. They got to get here and they got to take an opportunity to get on this platform and tell their story. So I'm so thankful that you guys have me on, man. I was excited. I told my girlfriend, I said, hey, I got this show to do at 9:30, so make sure you stay on top of me about it. She said, well, trust me, I will. So I was really excited about it. Thank you guys, man, for having me. Anytime I get a chance to talk about my purpose and my why, I'm excited to do it, man. And like, it's not about me, it's about us. And then if we can just, it's just happened to be a vision that I have to make a difference. And I want to do that wholeheartedly. I have no inhibition about anything else but making a difference. So
And
thank
and,
you
and,
guys
and,
for
and
having
when
me.
you get where Coach Goins and send all your players, any players you want to send, coaches. But we interview all of them. You know what I mean? Anytime you want any of them to come on for an interview, if you got a tournament or anything coming up or something you want us to know, that you need to come back on here and promote and market, whatever it is, it's an open door policy with us. Anytime you want to
I
come
have
back.
a great idea for you guys that I do have a guy who owns the Firebirds, the Raleigh Firebirds, the semi-pro league team in Raleigh. He's really doing a great job in promoting his program and promoting it. And the reason why I'm so keen on him is because he have two of my players on his team that's doing well. Actually, one of them was like Lamont. You might have seen him play. His name is DJ Thomas. He's about 5'6". Just the other night, he had 56 points in a summer league game, and 50 points the night before that, and he's putting on a show. Oh my goodness! I said, well, he's doing it. He's doing it, and he's having an opportunity to play professionally. That was his goal. That's his dream. Even if you want to get him on, I mean, if you guys have any coaches that you want to get in contact with, Lamont, just call me. Let me know.
Absolutely.
I have a pretty good Rolodex of coaches that I can call on.
All right. We appreciate that, sir. We really do. And so you just have a blessed and wonderful night. And like I said, anytime you need us for anything, just reach out to Coach Goins and we got you.
My man, appreciate you.
All
All
right.
Thank you.
right.
Thank you,
Y'all
bro.
have
All
a
right.
blessed and wonderful night.
Have a good night.
See y'all on the next
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Yes.
Peace and blessings, everybody.